within my creative process, and that is using magazines as a source of inspiration. I'm going to show you a few ways that I don't know what I was going to say the technical term, but one of the terms that folks use, in like scrapbooking and crafting, basically like sourcing material, sourcing images in my magazines for inspiration. I'll also show you some examples of some drawings that I've done from magazines. So, like, I just tore this particular clip out, and I believe that that was from one of my gardening guns. And I just recreated it here, and then I'll show you. I think we'll see the clipping of like the Land Rover and how I recreated that. So that is what I'm going to show in this video. Um, and so I am, my name is Sequoia. I use she and her pronouns, and I like to talk about Black queer feminism across topics like art, culture, and mental health. I am an artist, a therapist, and wear a number of different hats. But today I want to center around my identity as an artist. I have a few videos up that talk about returning to my art practice after many, many years. But me returning to my art practice in my 40s and what that's been like. I recently made 42, so happy birthday to any other Aquarius babies out there. But I wanted to share this particular practice because I think that it is something, it was accessible for me. And so, yeah, just wanted to give an example of something that may be accessible, something that's within your reach that might be able to help spark your inspiration, help with you returning to your creative practice as well. And so, as an example, I have a subscription to Garden and Gun. This is a magazine that is based on Southern arts and culture. And so I have this subscription for a number of different reasons. One, because I like that it specifically talks about the Southern states. It also highlights, again, like arts and culture from a Southern perspective. So I really like that. And they have really good recommendations for just different like festivals, arts and culture festivals. There are local to the different southern states that you may not know about. The other thing that I use this magazine for, I really like the highlights that they have on Black Southern culture specifically. They always have some interesting folks that they're highlighting. And yeah, so I just show my support by subscribing to this particular magazine. And yeah, and manifesting that at some point I will have an illustration in Garden and Gun magazine. So, one of the other things that I wanted to show y'all too was just like how I source different images. So as you can see, like I start with just, whatever has been recently delivered. This particular gardening gun is from, let's see, this is December 2024 to January 2025. I usually have like little sticky notes on the side, or I'll grab like in this gardening gun, I just had at my reach some post-it notes, and sometimes I also like to write little notes to myself about the particular image, and whatever it may have sparked in my interest. And so I can show you that as well. So I grab, something that I can like mark the pages that I really like and want to come back to. Um, and then I'll show you some of those images that I picked. I don't like how my light is. Maybe that's better. Okay, let's see. So I like this particular image. I marked this one off, and I like this one because it has just these really nice backgrounds of trees. So like if I was sitting down and gonna sketch, I would open this gardening gun up to this particular spread, and I would just recreate this, right? So you could either just focus on the people, or you could leave the people out of this particular image, right? And just draw the background, draw the landscape, draw the perspective of this, even the composition, right? This would be a really nice composition to recreate across 2 pages of a sketchbook. Okay, so those are kind of my thoughts about this particular image. These are some of the things that I would be looking for, like different images that I can recreate the perspective. And so perspective meaning like the horizon line, the road here, for instance, and the ways that the images disappear, get smaller, right, as you go away. How these leaves are a little bit more detailed, the ones that are closer, right, the ones that are closer in this particular composition. These that are up close have more detail, right, than these leaves back here in the background. And like, how would you recreate that, right? Let's see. Another image that I picked. Let's move this back a little bit. Okay, this is one that I drew and I can show you in my sketchbook. So I really like this image. One, because it's a Black person. I really like drawing all the Black people in Gardening Gun. So this is one of the images that I recreated here in my sketchbook, and I can show you this as an example. Okay, and this spread has some other things in there. Ooh. But as you can see, right, we started with this image here as inspiration. I just sketched this really quickly, 30 seconds. And then you see it here again as a 5-minute sketch. This one is a 2-minute sketch. And then this one is me starting to do a watercolor recreation of the vest, and I just haven't completed it, where I draw him, completely in there. But this is an example of how you can take an image from a magazine, use it for different time sketches. You can use it as inspiration for like different mediums. So like here I used a beige red marker. Here I'm using like fine liners. And then over here I'm pulling in watercolor, specifically Kuretake watercolor, right? So yeah, this is kind of my process. I am going to complete this. I want to actually do this again using some other materials, probably like collage. I could definitely see myself recreating this image in a collage. I had to drink some coffee. So let's see. And then I will show you this image since it is already clipped out. This is another image that is from Gardening Gun, and I just really like this one, so I pulled the image out because I will definitely be recreating it. So this is what it looks like up close. Okay. And then I just drew it one time here using the Kuretake. Yeah, the Kuretake watercolor, and then some kind of marker or fine liner here. And one of the reasons that I like to use magazines as a source of inspiration is because I don't, I don't need to come up with a new idea. I can just start with, clearly what the image is, and then recreate it, play around with the composition, play around with the materials, test different materials without having to think about, some image that goes with that particular material, right? So I don't want to make this video too long. Let me know if this was helpful. I definitely have different other approaches to why and how I source different images in magazines, like why I'm attracted to those particular images. So like this one, for instance, again, I like to draw the Black folks that show up in Garden and Gun, and this one is pretty cool. So I want to sketch this one. And as I mentioned, I have, a number, and this is only one magazine. I have a number of different images picked out that I would like to recreate, and I can continue to go through and share, like, again, what the inspiration is, why I particularly picked an image, what's interesting about it to me, and why I want to recreate it. If that seems interesting to you, let me know.